Thanks so much for joining us for tonight's episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. Really appreciate you being here. If after listening to tonight's show you get the impression if the thought enters your mind, you know what? Tonight's guests just might be two of the nicest people I think I've ever heard. Well, you wouldn't be the first. I got that feeling as well. They're salt of the earth people, and like I said, about as nice as you're going to find. Well, without any further ado, let's bring them on here tonight. Tonight's guests are Rovin and Brenda Rhodes. Rovin and Brenda, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Vic.
Thanks for having us, Vic. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's great having you. Thank you for your time. Rovin and Brenda, one at a time, please give us a brief bio on yourselves.
Well, speaking for both of us, we're the most happily married people in the world. Brenda and I are in our, I'm 55, she's 53, although she doesn't look it.
You didn't have to say that.
We fell in love at the office, although we work for the same company, but it's 1,600 miles apart. And about a little over a year ago, got married and have just never been happier. We both work for a national walk-in tub company, and I'm in sales, and Brenda sets those appointments. And we really enjoy what we do there, but more than anything, we enjoy getting out, enjoying nature. And I told Brenda early on, I told her that I had Bigfoot experiences when I was a teenager. And I said, hey, that's important to me. I'd like to see one again. And she's like, yeah, let's go do it. So that's our hobby now. Not just Bigfoot, but obviously Dogman and all sorts of cryptids. And so that's what we do. We live right here in Western Tennessee, close to a town called Jackson. And we just moved down a little bit, bought us a house, and life is good, man. Just couldn't be happier. And once again, thanks for letting us be on here tonight, Brenda.
I really had this fascination with UFOs when I was young, and even growing up. I grew up in Michigan and moved out to Arizona when I was 25 and loved Arizona. Thought I was going to go out there and find some aliens, and never saw any. But I fell in love with this wonderful man over the phone because he has such a wonderful voice. And his heart is even better than his voice. And when he told me his stories, it's like, well, that sounds neat. Let's go do it. Exactly like he said. And we have so much fun just out there enjoying the wilderness, enjoying it. Excuse me, my dear cat came all the way from Arizona with me. He has to be in our lap. We just have fun going out there and taking pictures of nature, and I usually like to take pictures of the butterflies and flowers and waterfalls, and I just happen to get other things in those pictures as well.
It's one thing to say, you know what, I'm going to head out into the bushes and beat them to death looking for Sasquatch and Dogmen. It's totally different, though, to do it and have so much success, such as what you two have. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. You're the real deal. You definitely do get results. How did it go the first time out, though?
The first time out, honestly, was our best time ever. I feel like that day was almost divinely ordained. It was so good. We don't want to give that location because the Bigfoot are on the cover of our book, and it's anyhow. But I'll simply share that Brenda and I, we had the conversation. It was 2 weeks before we were going to get married. She had moved out here from Arizona, and we planned our first trip. To say that we were carrying a knife to a gunfight is the understatement of the decade, because we had nothing but our cell phones, and I had a Samsung Galaxy S8 active, and Brenda's phone was worse than mine. Now, this is in 2023. This is last year. There was actually still a functional Samsung Galaxy S8, and we decided we were going to head out at that point and just see. And we had a conversation that day. We said, hey, it'll probably take us 5 or 10 years, and we'll probably get some kind of a blurry picture or something maybe, and maybe just have some fun and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the waterfalls, enjoy nature. And like we always do, we like to hike anyhow. And instead, we went out, and it was just a very unique day. There was no noise. Now I'll get into some myths, Vic, and I don't mind sharing them before we get done tonight. And there are a lot of myths about Dogman. We got some good pictures just the other day, and there was all the noises of nature were going. It doesn't always get completely quiet, guarantee it. I'm sorry, I don't want to upset anyone, but this day it was. No matter where we went, we traveled probably to different places 10 miles apart, and there was not a noise. There was nothing. We had a great time. I'll share the county. We were in Trigg County, Kentucky. And anyhow, to make a long story short, toward the end of the day, and here's the way it normally is when we get the best photos, the best sightings, it's not normally something that we totally calculate out. You can't figure these things out with your head. But what it is it's just, you just feel in your gut you need to go somewhere. You just think, hey, that's the place or whatever. So we went to a certain place toward the end of the day right there in Trigg County, Kentucky. We're just walking across an area that there are other people there. So we were new to this. I mean, I'd seen 2 Sasquatch growing up. We were looking for Sasquatch. We weren't looking for Dogman. And but we smelled something. We just smelled a horrid smelled like death. And quite honestly, I'd smelled it quite a few times since I was a child. Just wasn't for sure, or thought, hey, there can't be that many of these things. But we smelled it, and Brenda started snapping photos. We'll give a shout out to a guy named Scott Carpenter, because we had seen Scott's stuff, and I'd read a book of his and things like that. Scott's very influential. But we started snapping some photos. Brenda started first, so kudos. That's why I married her, because I knew she was going to enhance my life in every way. But and when we got back to the car, we were probably just 100 yards from our car. Guys, most of our great Dogman photos, everything we take comes from 100, 200 yards of the car. I mean, we don't go super deep in the woods. We do everything different than most people that go out and look for these things. But anyhow, we got back to the car, looked through the pictures, didn't find anything. And after that, we just said, well, hey, that's a wrap. We didn't know how to look through the pictures at that point. So it was all brand new to us. And of course, the picture quality with the S8 Active was pretty bad. So you fast forward about 1 week, and I was on a plane flight. And anybody that thinks any of this is AI, CGI, or computer animated, I was on a plane flight. I'm the most technically challenged person in the world for my age.
Yes.
I do not catch on to technology at all. And I was on a plane flight to get some additional training for the company I work with, because I could not catch on to a simple iPad application that most of the company caught on through Zoom meetings. So I had to go for an additional week of training, or reprogramming, whatever you want to call it. And so I couldn't use my phone. I just had airplane mode. And so I thought, well, I'm going to look back through those pictures. And I looked back through those pictures, and probably the second picture I looked at, I didn't even know how to do it. I barely knew how to take a screenshot, but I saw something, and I thought, that's faces looking at me. And I took those screenshots, and then I zoomed in some more, and I'm like, just a chill came over me, because I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm looking face to face with Bigfoot. And there were 2 of them in the picture, a juvenile out front, and there was an adult looking over its shoulder. And when I landed in Roanoke, Virginia, I called Brenda and I said, you're not going to believe this. Last week when we were out, we actually got pictures of Bigfoot. Well, to make a long story short, she started sending me her pictures. We started digging through all those photos. And I found out that if that day did not mess up my worldview and wreck my brain enough, she has pictures of a bipedal standing Dogman from that day. And had we had our new phones, we use Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultras now. Had we had our new phones, it would have probably been some of the very best Dogman pictures ever. They're still real good, but the pixelization is bad. But it just freaked us out. We're looking at all this stuff. And Vic, it's all close to each other. We're standing 30, 40 feet apart. You've got Dogman, you've got Bigfoot. I know that also messes up some people's concepts of these creatures. But you asked about our first day. Our first day ever was the best day ever when it comes to this stuff, but it was a whole lot to comprehend, and it took us quite a while to process it.
Wow, you want to talk about a productive first outing? You know,
Yeah,
most people, they have
it's
a hard
it's
time.
hard to improve from there. So
It is. Yeah, I'd say if that doesn't spoil you, nothing will. Yeah, a lot of people, they go and go and go, and 10 trips, 20 trips in, they don't have that kind of luck. So you definitely have a knack for this. You definitely do. Well, why don't you tell us about your Dogman encounters now? When you do, please be as detailed and descriptive as possible.
sure, absolutely, and most importantly, we just have a great time doing this. Very seldom. Well, the first thing I'll tell you about any Dogman encounter we do, any Sasquatch encounter, whatever, we don't go out at night. We're afraid of the dark because we know what's out there in the daytime. I'll say the first very memorable one we had, and it was, we got a really good picture. I didn't send you that picture, but in the springtime, and we just got one last week. In the springtime is the easiest time to photograph Dogman because you'll get a mother and she'll usually be looking over the shoulder of her pup, peeking out from behind a tree. And we've got three just like that, three or four. And we got, like I said, we got one last week. But our first encounter with Dogman, we didn't know what it was until we started peeking. But we had a massive snort that, and actually, we're getting some of these pictures. We'll get both Bigfoot and Dogman in the same general area, but a massive snort, and I really think the snort came from the Dogman. But we didn't see anything. Brenda jumps in the air like an Olympic athlete and just about does a cartwheel. She's done that a couple of times with some of these snorts, but she says she almost lost control of her faculties. And
It was scary. It was loud, and
Yeah.
I've never heard anything as loud as that before in my life, and it just kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, it's very deep. You can tell the lungs are massive, and this thing snorted at us, and we just tried to pretend we weren't afraid. There wasn't the side it sounded like it came from. Ironically enough, we thought for 3 or 4 months we got photos from the right side of this little trail we're on, and they came back from the left side. But it was a very, we've seen a few like this, but a very cute little pup out front, almost, for lack of a better term, almost comical looking, just a very cute little pup out front. And the female Dogman is standing, looking over his shoulder, or over, I'm sorry, from behind a tree, just peeking out at him. And so, and then we got a second one of her, but the pup has kind of gone. And so that's kind of a pattern, but that was our first one. We did not see that one as far as big, but we got it in the photo when we come up. We got the photos right now. We're actually getting a lot of those printed off, and we've shown quite a few of these on our TikTok channel as well. We love to show Dogman too. But our first actual encounter where we saw one was, we were kind of in that same area, pretty close to that same place. We're at the end of a long gravel road. We love rivers. We love like smaller rivers. We get some around bigger rivers like the Tennessee and the Mississippi. But we love these smaller rivers, kind of, good for kayaking size rivers. And so we're there at the end of a gravel road, and it's actually an oxbow lake where the river was there, but then it was cut off, and it's a lake shaped a lot like a horseshoe. A lot of big cypress trees out in it. And we get out of the car, and as I'm walking around, because I always open the door for Brenda, she doesn't expect it. It's just what I do, and it's just, we take care of each other. But I open the door for her, and as I open the door and we get out, I look over my right shoulder, and no more than 50 yards away, there was what it looked like was just a giant wolf. It literally, I told her, I've said from day one, this thing was the size of a small pony, maybe even taller than 4 feet on the shoulders. I mean, it was huge. I saw the complete silhouette of it. It was behind just a little bit of shrubbery, but you could tell it was very dark in color, maybe black. And it just had that really big wide head, and it was just standing there still looking at me. And I just said, "Get back in the car, get back in the car, get me." And I've got my arm around her, and I'm just kind of just ushering her straight into the car as quickly as I can. She didn't know what was going on, but she didn't ask questions. She just got in the car, and I shut the door. And then when I shut the door, I turned around and started trying to get some pictures. At first, I made sure it hadn't moved toward me, because if that was the case, I, definitely was not going to try to take. I didn't want the last photos recorded on my camera to be a size, 6-inch long teeth blasting it. So I made sure I didn't see it at all, and I just started taking pictures of the area. But we still, I was shaking, I was just trembling, and we decided, hey, it's time to move on from that spot. Sometimes we get a little bit too close for comfort. A second time we were walking down. And by the way, guys, some people talk about Bigfoot hotspots or Dogman hotspots. It doesn't matter to us. We find them at the same place. There's no different in the way we tell it all about it in the book, The Bigfoot Finders, but we find them the very same way. We don't go out like, hey, I'm going to go photograph Dogman today, or I'm going to go photograph Bigfoot. Some places may have a few more Dogmans, but we find them the same way. We always look for water, certain kind of areas we look for with a lot of land around them. We don't, I like places that are very, very few people go, but people go. They like the areas where you can kind of get close. They're very interesting people. Everyone we see just about is peeking out, looking straight at us. They always see you before you do them. But anyhow, we're walking down this gravel road. It's shut off because of the time of the year. I think they opened it up
March.
Yeah, they opened it up in March, but it's before March, and so we're walking down this road. I look over to the left, and I said, "There's a Dogman standing over there. I think that's a Dogman." And we just stopped and looked at it. We were probably maybe a half mile down this by a gravel road. It's really wouldn't be good for a car to ride on it, but it's a car or truck could. And but it was shut off, and I said, I think that's a Dogman, and we watch it for a while. And I said, "What do you think we should do?" And Brenda said, "Well, it's not hurting us. Let's just keep on going." It wasn't a real big one. It was bipedal. It was peeking out from behind a tree. And so we got some pictures of that one, but once you see them, it's hard to get a good picture. Once you see them, they know you see them. And so we got some photos of that one as well. And so did you have something to add there, buddy?
Is that the one that the stick? We heard the stick break.
That was the same place. Same place as we heard with Dogman too. It seems to be a little more prevalent. We'll hear a big stick break of some kind. I know you hear them with Sasquatch as well, but so we're at the same place, that same little road, but we're like a mile on down it. We come in from the other side, and we hear a massive stick break. It's a big stick break. It kind of shut me up. It's too big to be an animal. It's just too big to be anything just naturally occurring. And so we did what we always do. We just started taking pictures. And one of those photos that we sent you that tonight, Brenda got, and it's a bipedal Dogman standing up. It's black, and it also had a juvenile in there. It was the time of the year. I'm telling you, this time of the year, if you look close, if you ever get a one standing up, a good picture of one, you're going to have a juvenile somewhere around most of the time, and most of the time it's going to be a female. But this one is holding its paw up, and it is a paw. It's not a claw, but it's an elongated paw that it's holding up, and so it's just literally standing there.
Like saying hi.
Yeah, it's like saying hi. We didn't see that one, but we heard it. We heard something happen. Brenda smelled it too. She really smells these things well. A lot of times the Dogman, she'll say, has more urine.
Yes, most definitely. They have more of a urine, dirty gym sock smell than Bigfoot. Bigfoot just smells dirty and like dead animals. I don't really smell the urine when we see the Bigfoot, but Dogman, yeah, it's mainly what really gets me is that urine smell. And this one was really smelled that urine. And he's taking pictures on one side of the road, and I'm taking pictures on the other side of the road. And of course, I get the best picture. Just have to rub that in.
She's kind of our local Dogman expert, but as far as taking pictures, I am a little bit jealous. It's the only thing we got a good relationship, but she's going to have to quit. I mean, our first trip out, she messed it up by taking pictures of Dogman. I didn't know they were for real, and she starts taking pictures of them. And but one more I'll tell you about as far as a visible sighting, and that happened this year, probably about 5 weeks ago. And I ran this when you may, if anyone's seen the little video on TikTok, there's called, I did a Dogman or bear squatch because the hawk is more of a human look, and either that or it's behind a log maybe, but the foot looks more human, but it's definitely a dog type face on this creature. But many of the times that I'll just stop, I travel a whole lot in sales. So I travel from one end of the state to the other. I was in Mississippi, I think yesterday or the day before, Arkansas the day before that. I'm in a part of Tennessee that touches a lot of states. But a lot of times if I have extra 15 minutes or so to blow before I get to a customer's house, I'll pull over just on the side of a major highway, but kind of a pull-off area where there's water and where maybe there's a little logging trail or something. And I just get some great photos that way. But so many, whether it's Sasquatch or Dogman visual sightings, so many that I have if I'm by myself. I'll be talking to Brenda on the phone and I'll say, hey, I think I see something. Or, hey, I'm looking, I told her one time, I'm looking at a Bigfoot. I'm literally looking at a Bigfoot while we're talking, and pulled off a couple of pictures. But this time, I couldn't tell it was Dogman. I could tell it was a cryptid. I could tell it was super dark. I could tell there were two of them, and they were maybe 100 yards away or so. And of course, you've got that picture tonight too. I was across the fence right beside my car. So it wasn't a scary encounter, but, and let me say this, Vic, a year or two ago, when I heard somebody telling stories like this, if I were sitting on the other side of this camera, if I were just listening, I would think this is just a bunch of baloney. I mean, that's what I would think, because it was always a turnoff to me to hear people that have multiple sightings and multiple cryptids and Dogman and Skinwalker and all this stuff. I can't even, it blows our mind as well. It truly does. There's nothing in it to us. There's nothing in it for us. I mean, it'd have been more profitable for us if we just got some good Bigfoot photos and moved on. We weren't even looking for all this stuff. Yeah, that's what I wanted. We get so much, we get 97% on social media that just love us, love the photos, see the things that we put out, and then 3% of people that are just, very venomous with their assault. And there's nothing in this for us. We have no reason to make anything up. We're making a little money off the book, but not nearly as much as we've invested in it in our website. And so there's nothing in it for us to make this kind of stuff up. But if you're on the other side of this camera screen tonight, if you're on the other side and you're watching this, I understand that it's hard to wrap your brain around somebody saying, hey, we see all this stuff. All I can do is report what we see and what we photograph. And we do have the pictures to prove it, and we can go take more tomorrow. And so that's the fact. But that's really, I guess that's pretty much all of our visual Dogman encounters that we've had. We've got a lot of good pictures that we didn't see them or hear them or smell them or anything, but that's pretty much the visuals we've had right there.
Our main thing is that we want the world to know that these creatures are out there, and some of them can be very mean and hurtful. I've heard of several terrifying Dogman stories, but the world deserves to know the truth, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we share what we see, and then people can decide for themselves and be safe and enjoy nature anyways. But you just have to be a little bit more safer because these things are out there.
Absolutely. Not only out there, they're real. And one reason we say the world deserves to know the truth is the friend that was with me during my second Bigfoot encounter when I was 17. He was 16 or 17. I think I'd already turned 17. He took his own life within 2 years of that night. And that he had severe PTSD from that night. I don't know if that was the reason. But we fell out of touch. He moved away. He was much older than me. He was almost 30 years old at the time of the encounter. But if we were told the truth, there's people in positions of power know it makes me nervous to share this type of information. It really does. I don't want somebody knocking on my door. But we truly believe the world deserves to know the truth, and all we do is report what we see and what we photograph. So Yeah, but that's pretty much our encounters there where we've seen them. We've got a lot more pictures, but and we learn a lot from those pictures as well, Vic. There's a lot that you can learn when you dig through those photos.
You're not kidding when you say you could head out tomorrow and get more pictures because, with your track record, I definitely believe you. Well, it looks like the people in the live chat, looks like no one wants to see any pictures, so I guess we can close the show out. No, I'm just kidding. If I talk like that, the dog maniacs eat you alive. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Let's get into those pictures now, if you don't mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post 5 pictures that you've sent me that are not going to get my channel taken down and are not going to have black suits showing up at my front door and all kinds of other problems. But I'm going to post these one by one. And as I do, please tell us the story behind each one.
Oh, good bear Sasquatch.
Yeah. So that one there is the most recent of the 5 that we sent you, and we photographed well over 60 last year, almost identical in number to Bigfoot as far as what we photographed. We see more Bigfoot than we do Dogman because they hide better, but we photographed them almost in identical number. And that one there, that's one that I was talking to Brenda on the phone, and I said, I see those. I see them. I literally was driving to a customer's house, pulled over a little spot I'd been to a couple times before, and I think I'd been there, but had a little pond beside it and a little place of gravel to pull over. And we're chatting, and I always walk down, and we're talking, and she's like, "Oh, you're not going to get another picture while I'm talking to you, are you?" And I'm like, "Baby, I'm looking at one. I'm looking at something right now." And so I sit there, and of course, I snapped off a couple of photos. And once you start taking pictures of them, they'll usually just move right away, shift, or begin to blend into their background pretty good. But those 2 guys, you'll see one standing up, and you'll see another one turn almost completely sideways like this, just leaning over to the side. We get these things at some weird angles. We get Bigfoot and Dogman at the very same place. We did a picture a few weeks back that had a white-faced Bigfoot with a Dogman looking over its shoulder. But yeah, that's one that we got right off the side of a main road, in a place that people pull over and take breaks and whatever. People frequent where we got that picture.
They pull over, have lunch, take photos of each other, and
never look through the background. That's exactly right. Most people have taken pictures of cryptids if they've been in the woods much and just don't know it.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. Let's put up the second photo now.
Oh, that's mine. That's mine with his paw up, saying hi, that we discussed a few minutes ago. He is, or she, not she, forgive me.
Yeah.
They're all male to me. That is one of the best pictures that we have because it's just so unusual. It's so rare to see the bipedal with the paw up, and as you see, there's no claws. It looks like a dog paw.
Yeah, the background behind that one is just a really loud stick break when we were coming through, and we come back through, and Brenda's smelling them. I got a large male on the other side of the road, but it wasn't that clear, along with some distorted, weird sort of a cryptid with it. It wasn't just a Dogman, but of course we're talking about this picture. Brenda got that one. Now, if you went out 40 feet to the right of that one in the original, which we didn't send, but we got on a lot of these, we have the original. Some of them we misplaced them. It's hard to keep up with all this stuff, especially until Brenda got me organized. But there was a Dogman pup. This was either a March, April, or May photo. The best Dogman pictures for us always come, most of the time, 90% of the time, they're going to come in those 3 months, just like I believe with Sasquatch as well. But many times it's going to be that mother Dogman, and she's watching those pups, plural or singular. We've got a couple with just one, and we've got some with multiples. But anyhow, this one did have a pub down there. We were on a gravel road. Cars could not travel it at that time. We snapped the photos and get home, and we're like, holy moly, what are we looking at? And so anyhow, hard to wrap your brain around this stuff, but yes, that's probably a mother Dogman. Brenda got that picture, which she just told you, and we're proud of that one. That's a really good photo. So.
It's bad enough seeing a dog man, but when it's waving at you, that ramps it up to a whole new level. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
we didn't see it in person, but yeah, it kind of freaks you out because we were a good ways back. I mean, it was cars couldn't get back through there. Nobody goes where, well, a lot of people don't go. We were probably a mile back in the away from our car at that point. We get some of our best pictures right beside the car, but we were probably a mile back there. So, it's kind of what's weird is when you get back to the car or you get back home, you look through them and you remember how far you were back when you took the photo. I mean, like I've heard you say many times, if they wanted to get you, they just would. So.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, easily. They outclass us so badly in the woods. It's not even funny. That's why when people talk about taking guns into the woods to quote unquote protect themselves from these guys and Sasquatch, it's a joke. If they want to get you, it doesn't matter what size gun you have, they're going to get you.
And we don't, just maybe it's something I shouldn't say out loud, but we don't pack. We're, and I believe in the Second Amendment. Don't get me wrong. I just, when I'm out there, I feel it would probably, I mean, these things, they're beyond, there's something beyond just a regular intelligence to them. I'm not saying they're smarter than us, but they're very perceptive. And that being the case, I feel like it would hurt our odds of getting the photos we get. So we don't pack.
I don't think a gun would hurt them anyways.
Yeah, it would, you'd probably be better off turning the gun on yourself and committing suicide if one was attacking you. We're not saying, I probably shouldn't have said that word, Vic, I'm sorry, but if one were attacking you, a gun's not going to help you, I don't think, so.
Not at all. Yeah, people really underestimate how much power it's going to take to really have any effect on these guys. I mean, I know some pretty impressive weaponry that's been used on them and no real effect. So, I mean, you can carry a 10 millimeter on your hip and think, okay, that's a powerful handgun. Well, it is, but yeah, against these guys, it's not going to get the job done. So you're just appeasing yourself basically, but having it on your hip, you're not protecting yourself.
No, that's exactly right. You're not. And once again, we're, I don't want to say this wrong, but we're certainly not against the Second Amendment. We actually carry or have weapons ourselves, but we just don't carry them when we're out there. Just because I think they would know. I think cryptids know what your intents are, and anyhow, it helps us enjoy the journey. And we're not trying to get super spiritual, but we're Christians, and we just believe God's going to protect us. That's all I can say.
Well, like I said, you're definitely salt of the earth people. You definitely are. These cryptids somehow seems like they can see into your heart, and it seems like they just might treat people who are pure of heart like you differently in a lot of cases than people who aren't. I wonder if there is anything to that. Seems like there just might be. I don't know. Well, let's get to the next photo now, photo 3. What can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, we found that particular area the other day and took a photo, zoomed all through it. There's nothing that could have been. That guy looks like a chow. At least in my opinion, just looks like a big old chow standing bipedally there, sticking his head out from behind that tree. It's, once again, we don't have favorite areas because we find them almost everywhere we go. It's not that hard. Just, if you're around the water and you've got, and we love to find urban cryptids too. You can get them pretty urban. There's an element to them that just doesn't line up with what we call science. But this guy, there was a long, the whole picture, there was a long, drainage ditch or kind of a creek, but it's real muddy bank creek. And on up in front of him, maybe 100 feet on up in front of him, there was a Bigfoot sticking its head out too. So that's just the kind of stuff we photograph. But yeah, that guy looks like a chow. We were, I think, in our car, or I think we were in our car, or maybe just stepped out of our car, but we were not. We weren't far from our car. Most of them come pretty close to our car. We do hike back sometime, but that guy was pretty much roadside, and didn't know it was there till we got home, and just thought it was a great pic. So
He looks really hairy to me. Lots of hair puffed up, and he's got beautiful markings, beautiful color on that one.
Good job catching them on film. Again, another good job.
thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's pull up the fourth one now.
Yeah, that one, that's a weird place. We've just photographed some weird stuff there. Kind of felt weird when we were there. That one doesn't appear to have a lot of hair on it. Assume it's a Dogman, but you can see it sticking out to the right hand side of that tree. You can see an arm real well. And there were other cryptids in the area that weren't Dogmen. And so just a very typical photo. We do get a lot of them where we live, just leaning out from behind cypress trees that are right there on the bank of the water. And so just very common. That was across about, maybe before we zoomed in, that was across 100-yard or so wide little lake there, that Oxbow Lake again, or Oxbow Lake. And so yeah, and I think we got some more weird stuff right in that area, and it was kind of a weird day. But yeah, just some of these, man, we've taken so many. Some of them I didn't really categorize them the way I should. So I remember pretty much where that one was. He was in a little bit different part of the state. He was in Tennessee, but I don't even know if we get so many pictures. There's a lot of places we've got good Bigfoot and Dogman pictures, and we've just never been back. Just because we do find them just about everywhere we go. But yeah, that guy, there was something about 7 or 8 trees on down to the right. There was something else looking out at us as well. And so
I remember this area. This was we're standing on the bank, and the Oxbow Lake is right there, and then there's a whole bunch of trees and stuff on the other shore. And it's gorgeous. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in Michigan or Arizona, where I'm from. And it's just lovely to see these trees growing up, and they got such wide trunks, and it just looks like they're ready to walk out of the water, because the way they look, especially when the water is really low. And I think this was one of those pictures that
it was really low. And Brenda's right. Tennessee, guys, if you've never been here, it's really 3 states in one. The west end of the state, there's a lot of places that look like the Louisiana swamp. Just like she was talking about, the big cypress trees. The middle part of the state, it's just different. There's a lot of rock there, but there's some pretty rivers and creeks. You get into waterfalls, and then of course East Tennessee. Everybody knows the Smoky Mountains, and so and how gorgeous they are. And so Tennessee is a really long state, and it's beautiful. And we've gotten pretty much. We've never been all the way to East Tennessee, but we've got them just about from one end of the state to the other. So
not yet. We'll be there sometime.
We'll be there.
5-6 hour drive.
Yeah,
to the other side of the state. So haven't quite got that far yet. I was more into watching the waterfalls when we went to Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. But yeah, that one was across maybe 100-yard wide lake, Dick.
Well, like I said, good grab. You
Thank
definitely
you.
have a knack for this. Oh, you're welcome. Let's pull up that 5th photo now. There you go.
Okay. That one, I know exactly where that one happened. Just a weird deal. So we parked our car at the end of a little, once again, just that one was on a wildlife management area. There's big lakes there. They're super shallow lakes. And Brenda and I saw all these huge bird nests out in the middle of the lake, up in these dead cypress trees. And we thought they were eagles. Well, they weren't. They were almost eagles. Or what were they? Ospreys or Was it?
Gosh, I don't even remember now. Osprey.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
there were these big birds almost as big as eagles. So we're all captivated by them on one side. And actually, there's another guy. So many times we photograph these things. There's kids playing, there's parents, people walk by. There's another guy photographing out by himself. And he walks past us, has no idea that this thing's maybe 40, 50 yards over on the side, just peeking out of the grass and shrubbery at us. And so we didn't know it either. I think maybe I do remember taking several. Sometimes I'll just remember, it's not like I see them, but I remember taking 3 or 4 pictures of an area because just there's something there that catches my eye. Brenda does the same thing. And that was one of those areas that we took several pictures of. But anyhow, when we got home, you can imagine how surprised we were to find out, here we were once again, maybe a half a mile from the car, and this guy's just staring at us. We're up kind of on top of a raised area looking down. Another little hint we give people is look for those raised areas that are higher, because you do get some good pictures from the higher areas. But yeah, got back to probably all the way back home before we found him and found out this guy was staring at us. Ironically enough, around the bend, we got a really good picture of a Sasquatch as well. So once again, I know this is a Dogman show, but we find the two at the same place. There's no difference in the way we find them or photograph them.
Well, I'll say it again. You guys definitely do have a knack for doing that. You do.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Let's get to the first question for you. It's from Pamela B. And Pamela has a general question that I'm going to handle. She wants to know, how tall are they on 2 legs? Well, Pam, they can be 11, 12 feet tall. I've heard some credible eyewitnesses report that. So, in my opinion, that's about as tall as they can get. The next question is from Jonathan Dodd. And John wants to know, what camera are y'all using?
Yeah, now we did, we're working with someone. We may get a regular camera, but now all we use is our Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultras. It has a 100x zoom. As I mentioned, we started off with Samsung Galaxy S8 actives, and Brenda's was worse than mine. I don't know what kind it was, but her pixelization was worse than mine. We got the S23 Ultras just because of their camera capability. I think the S24 is maybe just a little bit better, but one of the best phone cameras that there is. And the reason we do that is twofold. Number one, we love to be very indiscreet. And so even if there's a better camera out there with a better zoom, our thought process is it's going to be very obvious that you're pointing that at one of these creatures. And every time we film one, 95% of the time, they're looking directly at us. And 95% of the time, we don't know they're there. And so they already see us. So if we go swinging something that looks like a cannon around, then it's going to get their attention. But we just lift up our phones, take a quick picture. So it is Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultras. And if Samsung wants to use us for a commercial or an ad, we're ready. They can talk to our agent, but that's what we use, Vic.
And another thing, I mean, I don't want to go out hiking even a mile or 2 away from the car with this loaded down with this equipment. So our cell phones are so light, we just take them and they have great cameras.
We travel light.
Sounds like you do. And that's great reasoning behind not taking a hand cannon out there, an actual SLR out there. Because, yeah, you don't want to do anything that's going to make them get twisted.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few where we saw them, we witnessed them, we watched them for a while, we zoomed in on them, and we got the pictures. And a really good zoom-in camera would have been fantastic. But for the most part, by the time you had that camera up, they'd be either blended or gone or shifted behind something. And so it's just the most indiscreet. To us, it's as much about indiscretion as it is about what gives you the best picture.
I was also just thinking, laughing to myself, I can't even imagine trying to manipulate a camera with all the new gadgets that you have that you can attach to it. That's just too much technology.
We're not tech people, Vic. We do good. That's why I use a Samsung and not an iPhone. And please, iPhone people, iPad people, don't get mad at us. But yeah, we use Samsungs.
Well, there's definitely a method to your madness, and sounds to me like you've got this all ironed out. Definitely. It looks like Wandering Bull 369 wants to know, are you more likely to catch a cryptid from your peripheral rather than looking for it?
Uh, our motto is just enjoy the journey. I probably search for them more than Brenda does, and she probably enjoys the surroundings and nature and just everything that's going on more than me. But honestly, I find that probably the less you look for them and just enjoy yourself. First of all, we don't suggest anybody go out and do what we do. We can't suggest that because there has to be a disclaimer or waiver because it could be dangerous, obviously. But having said that, what was the question again?
We just really go out and enjoy the view. We don't try to go out Bigfoot hunting or Dogman hunting. We just go out and, most of the time, we don't even know that we have him in the picture until we get back, and he spends hours and days going through these pictures and zooming in. And he's so much better at finding them in the picture. I just take the picture.
Yeah, but to answer the question, I do remember the question, Vic. To answer the question, probably most of them are caught out of the peripheral. And my eyesight's not that great, but most of them, very seldom do we see. We saw one Bigfoot last year that just jumped out at us. That Dogman, the one the size of a small pony, it just jumped out at us. Very seldom, though. Most of the time, he's exactly right. You're going to catch just some movement. We look for where it's black and shiny. A lot of times they'll be black, not always, but there's kind of a shine to them, especially if the sun's hitting them. And just look for that movement. And of course, once you've done it, for lack of a better term, it's not just your eyesight. You learn how to feel when they're around. And we kind of know when they're around. And of course, we try to optimize those times and take a lot of photos, whether it's by natural or kind of a gut instinct sort of thing. You know both ways. There are a lot of different elements that go into it other than vision, but yeah, sometimes a lot of times you're more likely to see one out of your peripheral than to stare head on, eyeball to eyeball with it. That's the kind of encounter we don't want. So
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it'll never happen.
hopefully.
I hope. After catching so many on film, do you still feel a rush when you get home, start looking at the photos, and bam, there's
Heck yeah. There's a place in our book, Vic, the Bigfoot Finders, and we say we just we give all these noble reasons we do it for, that we find cryptids and we photograph them, and we say and it is very personal to me because I did have a friend greatly impacted by it. It will rock your worldview to find out the truth. But and so we say we do it for safety, and we do. I believe potentially there have been people taken by these creatures at times, and the world does deserve to know the truth. But there's a place in our book where we say, truth is, we're just going to be honest. We're the ultimate adrenaline junkies, and it's quite a rush to get back home and say, hey, I was 50, 75 feet from this cryptid standing there looking at me, and you've got the proof right there in your hand. So yeah, we enjoy that, man. It is a rush.
And besides his two encounters when he was younger, we've only been doing this for a little over a year now.
Yeah.
And so it's still brand new to us. And it is it's incredible. I mean, I enjoy seeing the waterfalls, but when we come home and we see a cryptid with the waterfall, it's like, wow.
You can't wrap your brain around it. It will rock your worldview when you see what's really out there looking at you. It'll blow your mind. So yeah, there is a rush when we see them, Dick.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah, you're still kind of fresh into this, but I don't see there coming a day. I don't think there's going to be a day coming. Years down the road, even, when this is going to be happening, when you're sitting on the couch and discover a new one that you didn't see while you're out there, and you're not going to still feel that rush. I think you always will.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's in an old picture too. Sometimes like the one that we just posted about 8 or 9 days ago on TikTok of one we call Whiteface Bigfoot. He's in the book, but we're looking at that picture and we're like, that's a Dogman looking over his shoulder. We didn't see the Dogman at first. You get so blown away by the main character. Sometimes those supporting characters will really blow your mind when you see what's really out there and what's really looking at you. So yes, it is exciting. It really is.
Oh, it definitely is. This next question is from Manuel Zavala, and Manuel wants to know what attracts these dogmen to appear in front of you both consistently in general.
Probably first that we believe and know they're there. We have a confidence that everywhere we go, that cryptids are there. Um, it's more than just a knowing. It's most of the time. I feel like if we would be like most folks and look at maps and go, we don't even care if there's ever been an encounter there. It doesn't matter to us. Most of those pictures that you saw, I don't think not one photo we showed tonight was from a place that other people would consider a cryptid hotspot. People have never seen anything there. Dogman's never been seen there. The first place we ever photographed them was, but we just know that they're going to be there because they are. We know that, just like he just said, which is a great point. And we say it in our book, because you find Bigfoot and you find Dogman exactly the same way. If you want to know how to find Dogman, you find all cryptids the same way. You have to understand a few principles. One of them is you're the bait. They're interested in you. When you get out in the woods, they're going to check you out. What most people don't understand is they wait till they see something to start taking the picture. When you sense something, smell something, hear something, or whatever, that's when you snap off that photo. That's when they're there, and then you find them when you get home. I don't really like. Well, I mean, it's a rush to see them when you're out in the woods, but it's scary if you're back in the woods a ways. It's a whole lot better to not know till you get home. What you don't see can't hurt you, I guess. But anyhow, hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, I think the main thing is you have to believe, and then they'll be there.
Yeah, seems like they do tend to be there.
Yeah, we've got so many more photos too. We just shot you a few quick ones, but we've got a lot, and so it never ceases to amaze us and blow our mind when we get new stuff. We were taking a video the other day. It was just a TikTok video called "How to Think Like a Bigfoot Finder," and then another one about my first encounter. And people started commenting, "Hey, there's stuff in that photo." We zoom in, and there's a female dog man standing behind with a pup in front of it in the photo, and we didn't even see it. Other people were telling us, "Hey, there's stuff out there." That's how we found it. So, I mean, we've been super busy. We haven't had time to dig through photos like we want to. We just moved, and my dad's not doing that great physically, so we're traveling a lot. But yeah, even other people were seeing them in there, not just us. And this was a moving video. So anyhow, yeah, you have to believe they're there.
I'd say so. Yeah, if other people are seeing them and you're not, that says a lot right there.
Yeah,
it does. It looks like Do Something Diff has a question that you've already answered. He wants to know, I'm in Arizona. Where is she from? In Arizona also? They're in Tennessee.
I used to live in Arizona. I was born and raised in Michigan and moved to Arizona when I was 26, I believe, and lived in Arizona until a year and a half ago when I moved to Tennessee to be with this wonderful man. So yeah, I was in Chandler, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. Arizona is a beautiful place.
A match made in heaven.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. I've got a question for you from Bigfoot Reports and Data. The question is, RD and Brenda, when are you guys coming to see me?
Harley, we love you, man. We love you. Check out Bigfoot Reports and Data. He's a great guy. He's on the other end of the state. And yeah, check Harley's stuff out too. He does the same thing we do. He's a superstar, and we talk a lot. Harley, we're working on it, bro. We just got in our house, and yeah, we got a couple things to put behind us, and then hopefully maybe around that Smoky Mountain Bigfoot conference, maybe around that time we'll be heading into the state anyhow, and we'll see what we can do, man. But yeah, thank you, Harley.
All right. The next question is from Vanessa. And Vanessa wants to know, where can we find you on TikTok?
Okay.
Oh,
Yes. It's just the Bigfoot Finders. You just look up the Bigfoot Finders. We started off kind of concentrating, and of course our website is the best way to find everything we have. It's www.bigfootfinders.com. www.thebigfootfinders.com, www.thebigfootfinders.com, but it has every link. The TikTok, we do some stuff on YouTube as well, but we really haven't concentrated on it much. We're new to this tech thing. We're just learning. We're technically challenged, as we tell people. But yeah, and I do encourage folks, if you get on there, don't just look at one video. Go back and watch quite a few of them. You'll kind of get a flavor, and you'll see that what we're showing is real and true. So
that I definitely do believe. I've got another question for you from Bigfoot Reports and Data, and that question is, when is the best time to capture them on film? RD and Brenda, when are you coming to see? Oh, I guess I've already asked that one. I'm getting here.
That is a great question. We have a place in our book that we say that cryptids may get up at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, but we don't. We don't get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We don't go out in the woods at night. It doesn't matter to us. Whatever time we're out, maybe not quite as much activity in the really hot middle heat of the sun, but we get them all the time. So we usually don't get started till about 9 o'clock in the morning. Usually we leave by about 4 or 5 on the days we haven't spent but 3 days in the woods this year because of the move, looking for houses and helping my father and mother. And so we're getting so many pictures for the little bit of time we spend, but trust me, we do not get up with the roosters. We don't go out in the woods at night. Just whenever you're out there is the best time, just so you're at the right place with the right person. We do always recommend go in pairs and be safe, but just so you're in the right place, and it doesn't matter what time. We get them all times of the day.
I'm feeling that, if I remember correctly, the best time of the year was right now. March, April, May are the best months to find the cryptids. Later, when it's warm, very rarely, and then when it gets closer to fall, winter, not as much. But I think right now is the best.
Right now is particularly for dogmen, because you do have the mothers with the pups this time of year, and that's something we have consistently gotten is good pictures. We don't always show the pup out front or whatever. Sometimes it's not as clear, but we can tell it. But anyhow, the mothers absolutely guarantee. And Sasquatch, I believe it's the same way. I believe the Independence Day film, that one has a baby on its shoulder. But as far as Dogman, those mothers are more vulnerable and more likely to be seen or photographed in the spring when the pups are small. And I do believe, just from our photographs, and that's why we say, Vic, that photography is the highest form of research, because there are people that do all kinds of things, but we learn so much by digging through these photos. But one thing that we've learned is what I just mentioned. You're more likely to get that good photo in the springtime. The mothers are more vulnerable because they're always maybe 3 or 4 trees back, peeking out, looking at their pups and keeping an eye on them, making sure they don't get hurt. And I never want to cross a Dogman pup because mama's there somewhere. So.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. The next question is one I'm going to answer. It's from Blood Viper. And when I see questions like this, I just laugh. The question is, why are there no absolutely clear, non-blurry photos? Well, Blood Viper, there are quite a few crystal clear photos of these guys. You haven't seen them. So just because you haven't seen them, does that mean they don't exist? Not at all. Not at all. I've seen some very, very clear photos of dogmen posted on YouTube, on Facebook. I've seen them posted other places online, but for some reason, they don't stay up very long. They get taken down pretty quickly. I wonder why that is. It's almost like there's some kind of an agency or agencies out there trying to make sure that the really clear photos aren't shared with the general public. Maybe that's what's behind it. That is what's behind it. That's why you can't just log on to Google and pull up a crystal clear photo of a dogman, one that says, oh, okay, yeah, there he is, like you're looking at somebody in the grocery store. That's why you aren't going to see those. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I have seen people post them over the years, but yeah, number one, the photos don't stay up long. And in quite a few cases, the people who posted them, they didn't stick around long. I'm not going to say that's the way it's always been, but on too many occasions, I've noticed people posting photos that were too good to post like that for the general public, and they mysteriously just disappear, or they die of a strange strain of cancer, or you name it. I mean, more times than I could shake a stick at, unfortunately. Well, I can't say more times than I could shake a stick at, but way too many times when people have posted evidence like that that was too good to have any business posting like that. Well, things happen that I wouldn't be surprised if they were foul play. So, hope that answers your question. The next question is from Elaine Isabel, and she wants to know, I see a lot of black and white ones. Do you see these type as well?
We see a pretty decent amount. We thought about sending one. Yeah, we thought about sending one, I think, that looks like a collie. You do see multiple colors. Usually it'll be white down through here. But yeah, most of them, a majority of them are black. We have one from that same area that we showed. I think two of those photos were pretty close together. And we've got another one with a big, bulky black one peeking out from some shrubbery. And there's a golden female with some white under her chin that's down below her. But yeah, we do see multiple colors. Sure do. I mean, just like dogs. I mean, that's just the truth. It's like dogs. You're more likely to see a black one than anything, though.
Yeah, that definitely does seem to be the most common color. The next one is from D Truth, and D Truth wants to know, have you ever had a bad encounter?
If you throw all cryptids in there, the second encounter I had left my friend with PTSD, but that was more to do with the truth being concealed on a high level than it was with just the encounter. It was your brain trying to process if these things exist. That one was just very curious. The biggest thing we've had thrown at us, we've had a few rocks thrown at us, but primarily acorns by a juvenile in Huntsville, Alabama. We've had them snort at us. We've had them sometimes. I'll give you an example. We were at a place. Well, we're not sharing that picture, so I'll tell you. No, you've got me nervous. What you're talking about tonight, big. But anyhow, we take a photograph. It's down a lawn. We're headed toward a cornfield. We take a photograph, and it's a long trail with high grass and kind of some woods on both sides of it. It kind of goes down, and you can see it. You have about 100-yard shot. Well, we get to going down it, and I told Brenda, I said, something doesn't feel right. And so we get down in this cornfield. The corn's already been cut, and we get down in the cornfield, and she said, I think she wanted to go some further. And I said, we've just got to turn around and go. What we found was on our way down, we photographed one spider crawling right in the middle of the trail. We've shown it on our TikTok before, but we photographed it right in the middle of the trail. And by the time we got, obviously it moved out of the way because it wasn't there when we got there. We picked up two more cryptids to our right in the photos that we didn't know were there. So literally we walked down right over top. Our foot touched the ground where this thing was laying on its belly. We walked past where it was. As it's right there in the shrubbery beside us, we didn't know it. We get photos of it there though. And on the way back, we walked through it. And we just knew that we needed to get out of there. So I think the real key is when you know it's time to leave. Yeah.
We haven't had any horrible experiences. We haven't been attacked or, the worst thing was the grunting, the snorting, the rock throwing. But, Bill, we're not bothering them any, and they're not going to, hopefully, keep our fingers crossed. They will leave us alone and just let us enjoy them. from a distance.
We're much more afraid of a knock on our door that we don't want than we are of the Dogman doing something to us. So.
Understandably so. And yeah, we're going to talk about that. I don't mean to make you anxious about that. We'll have a talk.
No, obviously, we've heard about it before, but yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. I wish it wasn't the case, but yeah, there's been more than one, I guess you could say, researcher when you're talking about both Dogmen and the Sasquatch side over the years who has posted info or posted evidence that I told them, I'm going to highly recommend that you don't post that because if you do, you're probably going to bring bad attention upon yourself. Well, they posted it anyway. And unfortunately, in more than one case, more than one of those people aren't here anymore, aren't with us. Mm-hmm. So it's real. It's real. So that's why you don't see people posting, like I said, the really good evidence. But like I said, I don't want to make you nervous or anxious. We'll have a good talk about this and I'll bring more clarity to this. So I just don't want to leave you guessing and wondering exactly what I'm talking about and where the lines are.
We hope to just keep our pictures just right under the quality that gets people interested in us from the wrong places. You know, just good enough for the public to like, just not quite enough good enough to get the wrong attention. So
good idea.
Just kidding, but
good idea. The next question is from Richard Ramus, and Richard wants to know, I was raised in Michigan. I now live in Bristol, Tennessee. Do you both think maybe y'all have a different vibration frequency, maybe more in tune?
I never thought of it.
We're both definitely just country folk. Brenda was raised on a little in a very small lake community up in Michigan, right on the lake, and I was raised fishing and hunting and spending a bunch of time on my grandfather's 100-acre farm. And anyhow, so I don't know. We say we're soulmates, so I don't know as far as the vibration, but there's definitely something going on that these creatures like or that they're comfortable with. That's all I know.
I'd say there must be with all the luck you've had. The next one is from D Truth. Hey D, his question is, if you ever came upon an injured Dogman or Bigfoot, do you think you'd try to help it?
Yes.
Yeah, probably so, as long as it acted like it wanted help. You know, we don't feel that these things should be harmed or captured for the purpose of science at all. In a self-defense situation, just like with a human being, where, you know, whatever you have to do to defend your own life, that's one thing. But at the same time, there are a lot of stories out there of particularly Sasquatch helping people. I don't know. That's very much a hypothetical, and it'd have to happen to you, but probably we'd probably try to do what we could. Is what I think. So
that's what I know.
Brenda's the big time animal lover, so the answer is yes. We'd help it.
As nice as you are, yeah, I can't see it going any other way. I'm sure you would try to help it. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. Audacious Amber wants to know, is it true Dogman and Bigfoot work together? I'll answer that one for you, Audacious Amber, or Amber. In most cases, it seems like these guys normally will mix like oil and water, but there have been cases where people have seen them together, working together. So I think most of the time not, but sometimes yes. The next question is from, where was that question? Okay, from Chris. Chris Desay wants to know, do the birds and bugs go quiet when a cryptid is present? Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris, for the question. God bless you, man. So if someone does want to go to our TikTok, two of the videos that we found that we ran last week, we were live on site, just doing a quick video. We even did a promo for this show, Vic. Yay! But we were out there, and the birds were so loud that it was getting on our nerves. The birds were so loud, and that's one. And then somebody sends in and they said, "Was that a tree knock at 2 minutes and 50 seconds in, it was. And then and somebody else says, I saw one. And so we start scanning through them, and we actually that's where we found the Dogman mom and pup. We also found a Sasquatch. I'm telling you right now, you're onto something. Sometimes it does. I think that's when they're in hunt mode. This is going to really upset some people. But a lot of the times when we take a lot of the best photos, the sounds of nature are just going on just like normal. So don't not photograph because it's not quiet. Don't let that play. If it goes totally quiet, do photograph. You may get some good pictures, but don't refrain from photographing these creatures or looking for them just because animals are making noise. That is a myth. And I can absolutely guarantee you that's one of the things we've learned from photographing them. We get almost as many of them, whether it's quiet or whether it's not. But great question.
Oh yeah, the episode he was talking about when we were out a couple weeks ago, we could, because of the move, we did not know where our lapel mic was at. So we had the phone on a tripod and videotaping him, and the birds were so loud that it was almost hard to hear him talking, and he's got a very loud voice that can carry for miles. But we've had some that it has gone quiet. Our first the first day we were out, it was dead quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw got some very good pictures that day, but most of the time.
Yeah, our answer would be if it goes stone cold silent, there's a good chance there are cryptids around. But if it's not quiet, it doesn't mean there aren't. That is a myth. They can be around, and the sounds of nature can be going on just like normal. Guarantee it, no matter what anybody thinks. Not trying to upset anyone, but that's a fact. See it all the time.
You two sure are putting a lot of good info out tonight. I'm impressed. You really are.
We're only here to help.
You're welcome. It looks like D Truth has another question for you. He wants to know, you guys seem healthy. Do you think people with an illness or a handicap are safe?
One of our, just like we say on the cover of our book, and it's something we say a lot, this kind of thing will rock your worldview. The real problem is as much mentally trying to comprehend what you're seeing and experiencing. And if someone in poor health, say a poor heart, a bad heart, or whatever, or somebody sees one of these things and hasn't been told they're out there, then they wind up having to run a long distance or just even, we call it in the South, I use a lot of slang, but we call it wrap your brain around. It's hard to wrap your brain around these things, especially when and someone in poor health could potentially have a heart attack, or obviously it's gonna freak anybody out. I don't know, but yeah, we do try to stay. When Brenda and I got married a little over a year ago, I weighed 253 and I weigh 189 now. So we haven't been hiking that much. I've been dieting, but part of it is where we could enjoy the hiking more because I was out of breath at first. So.
Wow, you lost a lot of weight.
Yes,
I did. It was Brenda's cooking.
Wow. Well,
no, I'm just kidding. She does. We laugh. She really doesn't cook. So, but I've been intentionally dieting big. But part of it is to just be able to enjoy more time out in the woods. So.
Well, that's always good motivation right there. Well, it's almost time for us to get out of here. But before we do, would you like to plug your book one last time?
Yeah, absolutely. Books, The Bigfoot Finders. The best place to find us or anything about us is that website, www.thebigfootfinders.com. We're not just all about Bigfoot. On TikTok, we share everything, and I absolutely positively guarantee you that you find all cryptids the same way. You find Bigfoot and Dogman the same way. Once you learn how to find these cryptids, the book tells exactly how we do it. We don't recommend anybody do it, but you can find out all about us on our website, www.thebigfootfinders.com. Please check us out on TikTok and share. We are trying to grow and get the word out. So.
And there will be another book coming before the end of the year that will be more focused towards Dogman.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. We're doing a multi-cryptid book that kind of deep dives into some more controversial things. So.
Oh, wow. That sounds juicy. When that book drops, please do let me know. I'd love to have you come back on to talk about it.
Most definitely.
Be glad to, absolutely.
And help promote it too, of course.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. For anyone listening, I've posted a link to the BigfootFinders.com in the description for tonight's show. That way, if you forget what they said the URL for the website is, you can always go to the description for tonight's show and find it. You can just click on it and go there. So that'll make it really easy. But having said that, I can't thank you two enough for coming on and sharing all those experiences and talking about these photos with us. I really appreciate it.
Truly an honor, Vic. We appreciate it, and we appreciate everyone that listens and every question asked.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, thanks again so much for your time, and have a great night.
All right, you as well.
Oh, count. Thank you. Well, for all of you listening, if you've had a Dogman encounter and would like to speak with me about it, or if you want to be a guest on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. If you do that, I'll schedule a phone conversation with you and we'll take it from there. But thanks so much for listening, everyone. I really do appreciate it, and have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week.